Hey guys, it's Joe with Modern Survival Sense, and I'm back with yet another knife review. You're going to come to find that I like knives, and I do have quite a few to do reviews on. Before you is a Boker Albatros. This is a titanium frame lock with VG10 steel. Let's see. The blade length is 2 5/8 inches. The overall length is 6.5 inches. This thing is a beast. Let's see. Price range. It retails for $170, I believe it is. $172, something like that, according to the Boker website. However, you can get that on Amazon or other sites for around $100. I did get a deal on these. But let's see. It's a, like I said, titanium frame lock. It has a pocket clip that is reversible. You could have tip up or tip down carry, only on that one side. It has a nice, let's see, stonewash finish on that, on both the titanium and the blade itself. Now, VG10 is a very good steel, from what I understand. It's very rust resistant and will hold a good edge for a long time. This is part of Boker's Plus line, so it is manufactured in China, which is kind of surprising because it is a titanium frame lock. Normally you don't see knives of this price range or material quality coming from China. Typically you'll have lower end stuff, but nowadays things are changing. Now, what do I have good to say about it? This thing is a tank. I mean, it's a hefty piece of metal. Let's see how much it weighs. Oops. Let's try this one more time, shall we? 5.9 ounces. I believe that's exactly what the website claims. So they're right on the weight. However, I do have one other titanium frame lock, the ZT560, and this cannot compare to that, unfortunately. The one thing that I cannot stand about this knife is how rough opening and closing it is. I don't know if you can hear this. That blade is rubbing against the detent ball. It is real stiff. Feels like it's grinding almost. Here in this video, this can be a little bit different than you're normally used to seeing. I'm going to dismantle this for you and see what it's like on the inside. I did actually buy two of these, and the other one that I bought was in much better shape than this one. This one I've had to mess around with quite a bit, trying to get the blade centering and whatnot. Another issue I've had is because I tried to get the blade centered. Now I have a little bit of up and down. Is it up and down or side to side? That's side to side play, which isn't good. Normally you want to tighten the pivot pin in order to get that to go away. However, when you do so, it makes this almost impossible to open and close. If I could get this to open smoothly and close smoothly, I'd have different feelings about this knife. It's just that grinding feeling. Alright, well, let's take this apart and see what we have. Take this apart, I have my handy little cobalt Torx bit set. See if I can get this in one try. Oh, what do you know? And all you have are your two standoffs and your pivot pin. course, I did put some Loctite in this last time I messed with it, so it's a little tight. Okay, and for that pivot pin, that was a T9 that I needed. There we go, and the small ones are T6s. By the way, kind of as an aside, this little Torx bit screwdriver is a really handy tool. It's got a it's got a rotating cap on it, so you could hold on to that and spin it as you need. The good thing about Cobalt tools, especially this, they come with a lifetime warranty, so if you ever break them, which I have on one occasion, you can take it back in and they don't ask any questions. They'll just give you another one in return. So anyways, by the way, you do want to be careful. As I have it currently, you have this lock bar that's applying pressure to the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and open this gently. There we go. My standoff should fall out at this point. Yeah. See if I can get this apart. This is not the first time I've had to take this apart, unfortunately. I guess it'd be helpful if you could see it, right? Oh, it's really in there. And take a larger Torx bit and push the pivot pin out a little bit to free it. Maybe. Boy, it's really stuck in there good. Hold on one second. There we go. Finally came off. Alright. Can't really feel it. Well, as you can see, this is where the ball detent is rubbing against the blade. See, and this is what's really strange, is for a titanium frame lock, you would expect, all of the highest quality materials. The handles are made of titanium. I did ask the manufacturer what kind of titanium it is, and I'm not entirely sure. They wouldn't give me an answer. I could only assume that it's the standard grade that most people use for knives, which is grade 5. It's kind of a mix, but it's an alloy of titanium, aluminum, and vanadium. Gee whiz kind of information. But as I was saying, on these knives, these are, upper end materials that we're talking about. VG10's not bottom of the barrel steel, and titanium's obviously not a low end material. But what do you have to pivot on? You've got these nylon washers. I mean, even low end buck knives will have bronze phosphor washers, and they actuate a lot more smoothly than this. See that? Anyways, I'm kind of rambling on. Take these off. I'm not a fan of these at all. Boy, and there's a bunch of gunk in here. I haven't even... Let's see. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Bunch of crap in there. This is, I can only assume that this is from the washers themselves. The reason why I say that is I haven't taken this knife anywhere. It hasn't been carried. It's just been sitting around, and I have taken it apart, cleaned it. I even put some graphite in there just from a pencil. Now you might be thinking, you know, well, that's a graphite. No, this is different. It's chunks of black. It's really weird. Doesn't necessarily look like the washers themselves are deteriorating, but you never know. I do see on this one, let's see if you can get a good glimpse of this. There's some wear on it. This is just from opening it, closing it. Yeah. Okay, and the culprit of our issue. Wow. See, even on the pivot pin, we've got more of this gunk. So I thought, well, maybe it might have been graphite that I put in there from the pencil, but there's just too much crap there. It's really dirty for a knife that hasn't been used. And as I was saying, the culprit to the grinding issue, our infamous detent ball. This is what holds the blade in while it's in the closed position. It's kind of strange. I don't know if you can see that. That line that's coming straight from the ball detent around, as if the blade itself is digging into the titanium. I can tell that this is definitely low-end titanium. On the lock bar itself, where it makes contact with the blade, I don't know if you can see that or not, that shiny spot, that's actually where the lock bar is starting to wear already. I've only had this for a couple of months. See if I can get a better view for you. Not overly impressed with this knife. I may just end up sending this back to the manufacturer if I can't get this to work right. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause this right now, and I'm going to see if I can come across some bronze phosphor washers. I'll be right back. Well, that was a no-go. Apparently I don't have the washers I need. I do have some, they're just not the right size. I'm not entirely sure I can get this to function properly. Both of the washers are actually damaged. One looks like it's been pinched a little bit. The other one actually has wear grooves in it. Well, I will see if I can get this to work again. Now there doesn't seem to be any room for play at all. See, this was the problem I had before, is that stupid detent was so tight that you couldn't get it free. But now that it is free, it is actually kind of loose. Not grinding like it was. Wonder if that fixed it. but the detent's way too hard. Well, what can I say? I'm not overly impressed with the knife. The design is interesting. It's short, stubby. It's a stocky blade, very thick. Probably could handle quite a bit. Within reason, of course. This is a folding blade. Don't treat it like it's a fixed blade. Don't start beating on the spine with it. These knives were not designed for this. Well, it seems after I've gotten everything together, now it wants to function properly. As you saw, after I put it back together after cleaning it, it did seem to work a little bit better, but now that I've got it completely back together, now there's no wobble whatsoever. So I don't know. I guess I just need to clean it out for whatever reason, even though I hadn't been using it. It looked like the nylon washers that were in there were actually wearing down, so at some point I may want to replace those with the bronze phosphor washers. But as it stands now, it seems to be working okay. I do like the knife. The design is nice. The materials are good. VG10 is a very good steel. I'm a huge fan of titanium. I've worked with it for years, doing other stuff other than knives. But alright, well, there's the Boker Albatros. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, again, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'd be most appreciative. Until next time, this is Joe. See ya.